Every year, it's inevitable. He's heading to the NFL. Shut up, Paul Feinbaum. First up, we've got Penn State, Illinois. We're going to go through each of the games. Well, we got 3 games. First up, Penn State, Illinois. We got 5 minutes for each game.
Looking for some bigger prey. They're hungry for that bigger win, and this could be it. If they can take down Penn State. I said, nevertheless. Why did I say I said?
The former third string, now second string quarterback. And people on Twitter are talking. Should he be the starter now?
All right, good evening, everybody, and welcome to Michigan Chatter on Big Ten Team Rivalry. I am Cliff. With me, as always, is the commentator extraordinaire, the people's prognosticator, the angry pigskin himself, my firstborn son, Mackenzie. How's it going, Mac?
Like I said on Big Ten Chatter, I cannot wait for this week to be over.
It is a stressful week. Stressful week for Michigan and Ohio State fans.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us, everybody. We appreciate all of the subscriptions and the watches. Especially thank you for subscribing. I don't know why I said that twice, but it's probably because I forgot what I was going to say after that. But that's okay. That's why we don't get paid. Also, happy Thanksgiving. Because it's Thanksgiving. It's Thanksgiving week.
This is probably coming out on Thanksgiving, too.
It might.
Like the day.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be kind of cool. Then nobody will watch it.
All right.
Sorry, it's one of those weeks. This is a stressful week, and we're just sort of letting things come out now. Our topic on Michigan Chatter today has to do with Sherone Moore, and this is a fun one. This is kind of interesting because Sherone Moore, as an interim coach, took up a job that he was not expected to take. The game this weekend, that is the Ohio State-Michigan game, could be career-altering, and not just for Sherone Moore and Harbaugh. Nope. Actually, I was going to say one or the other, not just for Harbaugh, but also for Sherone Moore. Last year at this time, Harbaugh said of Moore that he is beyond ready to be a head coach. That was last year, which I think is pretty cool. This year, he's Michigan's interim coach. He's 3-0, including defeating seasoned head coach James Franklin and his number 10 ranked Nittany Lions at Beaver Stadium. And it was that win that Michigan was looking for to prove to the greater college world that they are, in fact, for real this season. But let's back up a little bit and build the case for Sherone Moore becoming a head coach, because that's what I wanted to talk about. He started at Louisville in 2009, moved to Central Michigan in 2014, and in 2018 found himself at Michigan as the tight ends coach. In 2021, he was promoted to offensive line coach and co-offensive coordinator, then to full offensive coordinator this year. Moore is one of the key figures. I'm actually getting some of this from Fox Sports, saying that Moore is one of the key figures in Michigan's recent rise, including going undefeated in the Big Ten for almost 3 years now, 2 Big Ten titles and 2 trips to the college football playoff, and looking for the third one here. Moore and the Wolverines became the first team to receive back-to-back Joe Moore awards for Best Offensive Line, which is an award I haven't heard of before, or at least didn't remember. But they've got it twice now, and they just might do it again this year. Michigan's offense is averaging 38.3 points per game, and Michigan's 2024 recruiting class includes 9 blue-chip prospects. And in case you're not clear as to what a blue chip prospect is, it's basically just somebody who is highly recruited by multiple schools. Sherone Moore seems as ready as anybody to be a head coach. The question on the table, Mac, is will he get hired away from Michigan, or will he be head coach of Michigan next year when Harbaugh inevitably takes that NFL job that everybody seems to think he wants?
Inevitably.
Every
year, it's inevitable. He's heading to the NFL. Shut up, Paul Feinbaum.
You know who doesn't get asked to go to the NFL?
Ryan Day. You know who else?
Who?
James Franklin.
Dope.
Sucks. Anyway.
So I'm going to totally contradict that now.
What?
I have this horrible feeling that Harbaugh might go to the NFL this offseason. But
Really?
that being said, maybe I possibly
All right.
just so because it depends on how all the suspension stuff works out with the sign stealing nonsense, witch hunt. If the NCAA imposes any sort of sanction on Harbaugh, then he might be gone. But it depends on the sanction, I
Yeah.
suppose. I don't know. So I guess we'll see. But should that happen, if Sherone Moore beats Ohio State this weekend, then totally fine. Like hire him immediately and send Harbaugh off with the standing ovation and bouquet of flowers that he totally deserves. So I kind of think that the only way Sherone Moore remains on the sidelines with Harbaugh as head coach is if Michigan makes like a sort of grooming deal with him, like they're going to be grooming him specifically to take on the role, and that might take a couple of seasons, but they're basically saying the position is his if he wants it. I'm not. They're not actually saying that. I'm just saying that they should say that.
All right.
And that's all depending on how this weekend goes. Like if they lose, if it's close, then great. If they get blown out, then no. But that said, I think Michigan also needs to win this game for the sake of the program's future. Like I hate that the stakes for this version of the game have really never been higher, because I think that whichever team loses is kind of at a turning point. I mean, if Michigan loses, then Harbaugh will have wasted his best team ever.
Yeah, for sure.
That's and I as stupid as this sounds too, I genuinely fear that if Ohio State loses, Ryan Day will be out of a job, or at least really on the hot seat. And like I don't think that he deserves it. Even if he loses to Michigan a third year in a row, I don't think he deserves that.
No, he probably doesn't. But that, like Steve Dace and Mark Rogers were talking about, that uh, Ryan Day has a better than 90% win average.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's even like 96. It's pretty high.
Yeah.
The best in the Big Ten for sure. And to think that there's a possibility that he could get fired for losing to Michigan 3 years in a row, of course, speaks to the rivalry, which, for, I don't know, 10, 15 years there was non existent. But now obviously it's
Mm-hmm.
back on. I would find it hard to believe that they would fire him for that. But by the same token, it is the game by which both schools are measured. I mean, like it or not, the announcers will say it every time. If Michigan has an undefeated season, but they lose to Ohio State, that's what will be announced at their bowl game. And the
Yeah,
same
that's
thing
true.
for Ohio State. That's what will be announced at the bowl game. That's what will be discussed. How do you feel your season went, even though you lost to Ohio State? How do you feel your season went, even though you lost to Michigan? It will come up
Yeah.
every single time. So it's that important, which makes me think that. Well, go ahead. What were you going to say?
No, go ahead, finish your thought.
Well, I don't know. I feel like the NFL rumors for Harbaugh. Like you said, they come up every year. I think at this point, if he hasn't taken the NFL job, he probably won't, for a
Mm-hmm.
couple of reasons. One, like you said, this is his best team ever. And if they don't get to the national championship, I feel like Harbaugh is the type of competitor who will say, okay, give me one more shot at this. Because I think he dearly wants that national championship.
Well,
And
he's only 60, isn't he?
yeah, which
So he's
means,
got time.
yeah, he's got time in college, but an
Mm-hmm.
NFL career is going to be short.
Sure, yeah.
I, I think in the NFL, he gets to his mid 60s and they're going to start saying, look, you got to retire. I don't know. I guess I
How
haven't.
old's Bill Belichick?
Yeah, I haven't really looked up the stats to see, what the average age is of an NFL coach. But I mean, the way things progress now, if college football is all about the money, the NFL is obviously all about the money, and it's only getting
Yeah.
deeper and deeper on that. I just really think that his NFL career would be too short to make it worthwhile. And I feel like he's going to retire at Michigan, but that could be wishful thinking.
Well, and his name is always attached to, like, I guess there's the Raiders, and I don't know the division that the Raiders are in, so I couldn't tell you if he would be successful right off the bat there or if it would take a little while.
Hmm.
But he's also been attached to the Chicago Bears, and that organization is a dumpster fire on a flooded interstate. Like, it is a terrible, terrible program, and now you have a resurgent Lions
Yep.
divisional opponent to deal with. Like, I don't know that he would want to do that. I don't know that he would want to do that because he would have to build that up. At least at Michigan, he's got the foundation laid, and so no matter what team he has, he always has a shot against Ohio State at this point.
Right.
So there's that. The other thing I was going to say before is that with playoff expansion, the game, at least the one that happens in the season, doesn't mean as much. Not
Right.
nearly as much.
Right.
Because this year, it's the winner goes to the Big Ten championship. If they win that, they're a de facto, by default, they get into the playoff. Next year, if both teams come into the game, even with one loss, they still have a shot at the playoff. If they lose the game, whoever loses the game is probably not going to go to the, well, actually, depending on how things work out, there's a chance that even if you lose the game during the season, you could still go to the Big Ten championship because Michigan and Ohio State are constantly number 1 and 2. And I understand Oregon and Wisconsin or Washington are both really good and coming into the Big Ten. We'll see how that works out. I doubt that Washington's lack of defense is going to help them very much in the Big Ten, but who knows? Big Ten offenses aren't really all that great. But that being said, like we're now looking at the possibility that Ohio State and Michigan play 3 times a year, once during, or at least 2 times a year, once during the regular season, again a week later in the Big Ten championship, and then again potentially in the playoffs, depending on how that works out. So
right,
Michigan at this point, like Harbaugh should stay because Michigan at this point will essentially always make the playoffs as long as they can win at least 11 games a season, 10 or 11 games a season.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's actually a good argument to keep Harbaugh then, or for Michigan to keep him, because he can help make the transition from the current state of college football to next year's state of college football. Because, like we said, this is the end of an era. Things are changing. College football will not look the same next year as it does this year. That said, too, I mean, getting back to Sherone Moore, he obviously has developed. Where Harbaugh is right, I think he's developed to the point where he could take over a team. Is he ready to take over Michigan fully as head coach? That might remain to be seen, because it's one thing to step in as, it's one thing to step as an interim, and it's a huge thing given what's on the line for Michigan. It's not like he stepped in as the interim at EMU, as we were talking about before. He's stepping in as head coach to the number 2 or 3 team in the country here. And but he hasn't had to manage that team from the beginning, which is a far different thing to do. Maybe not so far, but it's far enough that what I would love to see, honestly, my dream would be that Harbaugh stays at Michigan for another, I don't know, 5 to 10 years and retires, and Sherone Moore just steps in, and it's just like, just keeps rolling on. We'd be right back to the Bo Schembechler, Gary Mueller, Lloyd Carr days, where Michigan didn't change. It was the same good team through all 3 coaches. And Sherone Moore is only, what is it? What I say? He was 38, 37.
Is he really?
38. Yeah. He's pretty young. So if he sticks around, I mean, let's say Harbaugh stays around for another 5 years. I mean, he's only 43. I mean, a lot of these guys are just getting started at that age. So, and I mean, what better team to get started at as head coach than Michigan?
Yeah, with the type of foundation that Harbaugh leaves them, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that
would
would be awesome.
Yeah, I would love to see that.
Hmm.
Yeah, anything else you want to add to that?
Just beat Ohio State, please.
That's what we think. Let us know what you think in the comments. Could Sherone Moore be the head coach at Michigan either next year or in a couple of years? Let us know in the comments. Thank you for watching. Happy Thanksgiving. Mac, take us out.
This is Michigan Chatter on Big Ten Team Rivalry. Right?
Yeah, that was good.
Okay.
Thanks for watching. Have a great weekend watching football. Have fun watching football. Remember, #make football fun again. If you like what you saw, don't forget to like and subscribe and leave us a comment. Let us know what you think. This is Big Ten Team Rivalry.